Hey, everybody, welcome to NiteLife Exchanges, where we discuss things that are happening in the nightlife, piano bar and cabaret. And I could never do this myself. I have to bring on now my co host, Mr. Tony Javid. Come on, Tony.
Your fellow creature of the night.
Come
Hello.
on. I didn't get that one from Meg McMahon, but he could have probably stolen it from me. Come on. So welcome everybody. And Tony, I think we talked about this a little while, but I definitely want everybody that's joining us today to see this upcoming interview, which is good. But I wanted to know I am reading this book, Leading Lady, a memoir of a most unusual boy. And Charles Bush was a most unusual boy. And again, we are grateful for the work that he did and the bricklaying the foundations that he put in place that helped us to have the world that we have today. I am almost finished with it. I am reading it really slowly now because I don't want to finish the book. I want to savor it at the end. But
That's the consensus.
buy that on Amazon, or if there is a more brick and mortar store nearby, go there and spend your money there.
Go to your local bookstore.
Also, Tony, I saw a great show at Chelsea Table and Stage the other day. I saw Megan Dwinnell, and it was amazing. The energy level that she put on that stage. I've seen performances by Bette Midler at the Radio City. I've seen the Prince in concert. I've seen Patti LaBelle, live, and all of these. And you know what? This young lady, Megan Dwinnell, she's got the same energy, packed it, and it flew off the stage. It was incredible.
Well, that's not for nothing.
No, not
That's
at all.
pretty good company.
Yeah, no. Listen, she needs to. She could fill a stadium and fill it. I mean, not just fill it with the. I'm not worried about the seats. Well, you have to worry about the seats, but I mean the
Says
energy.
the producer.
The energy coming off the stage, and you can see her actually if you come to Ellen's Stardust Diner a lot of times because she's a singing waiter that works there. And when you hear one number, her do one number there, and it's going to be powerful because she just delivers. This was one right after another. Incredible show. I like to tip my hat, by the way, to the people over at Chelsea Table and Stage. They're doing a wonderful job of booking. It's Ben Rimmelauer, and also the food is very good. I do recommend the chicken balls with the truffle oil was delicious. I know, chicken balls. We would have had a good time with that in Brooklyn for sure. So, Tony, we have a great guest today.
Yes, we do.
Listen, this is somebody that in the day, I mean, people clamored to see his performances because they were always exquisite. He was one of the best in the drag impersonation, whatever categories they changed the labels on things, but his characterizations were amazing. And so we're going to bring on shortly James Beaman, or as we know him, Jamie Beaman. But we have a little clip before, so you can get an idea for you folks that weren't lucky enough to be around to see these shows live. This is James Beaman as a multitude of people that he did in his day.
Are you a transvestite, a drag queen?
No, I'm an actor. I don't dress like this to dust.
This was me.
Hi, Jamie.
Wow.
Hello.
We're so thrilled to have you here today, man. It's a pleasure.
I couldn't be happier. I'm so thrilled that we get to talk.
And of course, that was Geraldo, right?
Yeah, Geraldo, 1994.
Yeah, when he was still good, I guess. And I'm glad that you gave him. I'm glad you gave him that response. Yeah, I don't dress like this to dust. It's like, come on. Geraldo.
It was an interesting thing because I was in the world famous La Cage Review, which had a short life. It's had a long life in Vegas, but had a short life at the Blue Angel here in New York around that time. And they brought me on and Tommy Femia and the cast. And the questions from the audience were something else.
Well,
Something else.
times have changed, but in that
Not
day,
that much.
yeah, well, hopefully a little. It's a little less. I don't know. Yeah, you're
I
right.
don't know where I am
Things go
anymore.
back and forth so quickly.
I think it's chosen ignorance now, whereas back then maybe it was more people were truthfully
did.
ignorant.
Well, now it's asking questions to see if you say something inappropriate, so that
Exactly.
they can go.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the
Too
joy
late.
the joy of what you did then, you were a centerpiece of the cabaret world at that point, and playing all of the different clubs. So give our audience here, because not everybody was around, like I said, and that was a heyday. The clubs were really
Boy, it
humming.
was.
Um,
The early 90s, I called them gay 90s. I moved here in the summer of 93, so I've been
Right.
here officially 30 years. And
Me too.
yeah, all right, muscle tough. Well, look, that was a time of enormous gay culture in the city. When I moved here, the week I moved here, my ex and I saw in 1 week on Broadway Kiss the Spider Woman, Angels in America, and Love, Valor, Compassion. And everything off Broadway was gay. Everything, Jeffrey and Party and Cute Boys in their Underpants. And Whoop-De-Doo, which I was in at the Actors Playhouse, which is also no longer there. I came to New York with this cabaret like fling that I had with Lauren Bacall. I did a one-person show as Lauren Bacall called Bacall by Herself, and I did it kind of on a whim up in Boston. I was living in Boston. I did a club cabaret up there, and it did really well. We had to bring it back, and then I don't know. I'm sure you know Harriet Yellen. But Harriet Yellen was producing Forbidden Broadway at the time.
Right.
She bankrolled me and my musical director to commute once a week for about 3 months to Don't Tell Mama on a Monday night at 9. A totally unknown quantity. But the Whoop-De-Doo creative team saw me there. And that's how I moved to New York. I covered all 9 people in that show. It was my first gig in New York. And then from there I did what's that?
Mr. Crabtree and the
Howard.
team that put all of that together, and
Brilliant
a few people
man.
that you worked with, like Jay Rogers, and
Jay.
if you don't know what Whoop-De-Doo was, there's another one that you should get that Google machine, folks, and go back in time. You see some amazing stuff in costumes.
It was way ahead of its time. It was totally politically incorrect. It was a gay satirical of the old school musical satirical gay fabulous review, and then I did When Pigs Fly as well, which was sort of the upmarket version of Whoop-De-Doo, different version. But that was over here at the Douglas Fairbanks Theater for 2 years. I was the understudy for the second year. That theater's no longer there either. But that's
You're closing them all.
Close them all, play them all, and close them at night, every night. But yeah, it was a great time to be here. It was a great time to be doing cabaret. Cabaret was a place where on a shoestring budget, you could produce your own work, create your own work. And I wanted to attract attention to myself as a character actor. And my brand has always been this sort of man of 1,000 faces disguise thing, because I've been a makeup artist all my life. And so it did get me noticed, but I was in a dress for quite a long time.
You really did a quintessential Marlene Dietrich. I mean, that was
thank you.
An incredible performance. And of course, we had a connection with people from that day, because even though when we were younger and all growing up, she was already in Paris and, in seclusion, keeping her reputation and everything intact. But we had her grandson, David Riva, who would come and drink at the piano bars with us. So, we had connections with these. We knew who these people were. Some of them still came in. Otherwise, we knew them from watching them on, $1 Million Movie or what. I mean, this is something, those classic models, boy, that rolled out from the 30s and the 40s in Hollywood. They were still with us, Betty Davis and all, making the talk show rounds and all. So we grew up knowing all of that, but you really did put that together. And that show played first where? At Mama's?
I did 3 separate acts as Marlena. I started doing her at the Blue Angel with the Lacoste show, because the owner of the Blue Angel was obviously a Marlena fan. And she said, I will finance this look if you want to do this thing. And I had grown up with Marlena in the house because my mother had all of her albums. My father was a set designer, did the summer stock circuit. So he had painted the stage when she did North Shore Music Theater, which was in my hometown up in Massachusetts.
Wow.
And they went to see her with Burt Bacharach in the early 70s. So I was surrounded by that. I created a show called Queen of the World, which was basically a recreation of the concerts she did with Burt Bacharach in the 70s. She was an old lady at that time. And that was the first show. That was at what is now the Triad, which then was Steve McGraw's in 97. And then the next year, Irv Rapel asked me to create a show for 88s, which was really the hot club at the time. It was the boutique club for people who weren't
Crown jewel,
Margaret Whiting or Julie Wilson, And he asked me to do a show there, and I did Black Market Marlena there, which was the Top Hat and Tails Marlena. And that was the show that really kind of took off, and we toured that and went to Berlin with that in 99 and saw In the Millennium in Berlin, which was really cool. And then I did Marlena live at the Café de Paris, which was my last Marlena show. And that was at the Firebird. I was the only female impersonator to play the Firebird. It was a very elegant, lovely show.
So that was on 46th Street, folks, if you know the Firebird.
Beautiful club. Irv Rabel, he was, great taste and a wonderful impresario of the type we just don't have anymore.
There's
and
no elegance like that about right now, for sure.
Whatever happened to class,
You had to zhuzh it up, as we say in Brooklyn.
So I did about 8-9 years of female impersonation, and then I realized that the thing that I really wanted to do with the Marlena wasn't going to happen, because I wanted to take two of the shows, put them together, and segue into a professional theater. And at that time, the Pam Gems play about Marlena was on Broadway with British actress Sian Phillips, a wonderful actress, but it was a bomb, and it lost money. So all my investors that were coming to see me at Firebird, amongst them some names that I won't name, but they just ran for the hills. And I thought, well,
they
this
took
isn't
the
gonna
right
happen.
lesson. They took the right lesson, right? Oh, no Marlena show could ever work. That was clearly the lesson.
I had a track record. But it just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm the best at this I'm ever going to be. So let me go out with a bang. And on Marlena's 100th birthday in 2001, I did my 2-act show at Judy's in Chelsea, which is also no longer there, as a gala. And I said goodbye to it. And then I took a year to figure out what I was going to do. And I went to graduate school at the Shakespeare Theater in D.C. and grew a beard and started wielding a sword and just doing something else, which really opened up a whole... I still do drag roles. The role I was doing when COVID hit, it was my fourth production of La Cage aux Folles down in Florida. We were doing that. So, I still do en travesti, but I wanted more. I've always wanted to just be a character actor and do all the great iconic parts.
Right. You are an actor whose how people got you. Your claim to fame was drag, and of course, people have such great imaginations that they can see you. Oh, you're a great actor. You can do anything. No, you just must do drags. Well, I'm glad you're able to break out of that. Oh, especially back then, for sure. The stereotyping was even more so. So good for you. For doing it, and good for you for breaking out.
Never been a disclaimer. There was a little tittle-tattle in the cabaret community because I had been the MAC member at large for 2 years, and I was very engaged and involved, and I am again. But there was a little tittle-tattle about how I thought I was too good for cabaret and blah, 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 and I'm going to go to do Shakespeare, and I think I'm all that. I'm like, no. This is what I wanted to do when I was 12.
Yeah.
The drag work actually helped me to perfect my skills as a makeup artist. I did it to prove that you could do, especially the Marlena, I did it to prove that a man can do a female impersonation and not do camp. And do something subtle and do something real, even in a small setting. It was a challenge I set myself, and it really helped me to stretch and to grow. And the video that you showed, that's a tiny little snippet of this sort of centerpiece video that's going to be part of my show Lived Experience, which opens next week, just to give people a taste, the young people a taste of what that was, and to give the old guard, many of whom are still, bless all of us that we're still with each other, to have a memory of that. But people do ask me when I say, I'm doing a cabaret comeback after 20 years. They're like, "Ooh, you're doing Marlena?" I'm like, "No, I'm not doing drag. I'm not doing drag." And this is scary for me because I'm not trying to kid anybody. I'm not Robert Goulet. I'm not coming out there, to blow anyone's mind with my amazing jazz vocal stylings. I'm doing a cabaret that is a personal piece that's about what we've all been through the past 3 years. And also it's largely, it's for everyone. Because I find myself these days being sort of mentor slash, sassy mama to some young people who don't know anything, who don't know what to look for and what to learn from. But really, I'm speaking to people 50 and up, like myself, who feel like we're being sort of shuffled off into the wings, and we've been kind of broken by the past few years. My career, I was very single-minded. I mean, this has been a life lesson. I was extremely single-minded about being an actor, making my living as an actor. And I did and made a meager living in regional theater, but I've done over 100 roles in the past 20 years in regional theater all over the country. And but I gave up a lot to do that. And then COVID happened and it was all taken away.
Yeah.
During COVID lockdown, I was caregiving for my mother who had dementia, and we were living in that COVID bubble in my one-bedroom apartment in New York. The person who was the dearest to me in my life, didn't know who I was. So everything in my life that was stable went, and I had to just. And then on the other side of it, and I think a lot of people are experiencing this still, who am I now? And where do I fit?
100%.
Right?
And your show coming up now at the Triad is going to give those experiences to other people. Tony, can we put up the let's put up the date and the time again? Again, it's Lived Experience, and it's at the Triad, October 19th and 26th, 9:30 p.m. And also there's a live stream on the 26th. So for you folks that can't be in New York and are looking to see the show, go to the live stream. It's one of the things that we got out of all of this. And
yes.
By the way, Jamie, thank you for your work as the MAC member at large. I was the first MAC member at large. I think that you followed me up, and we did try as best we could as you did a lot of work to try and help to move things along. And the cabaret community is what it is. It's just a lot of different.
I love it. I love it.
I love it as well. But your idea of trying to work and explain, I'm glad that you are speaking to the younger people that need to hear, because I think that they don't realize. A lot of them don't remember. They don't realize why their lives are as good as they are right now, and a lot of it has to do with the stuff that we did in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and et cetera, that built the foundations for this world to be, even though there's still problems, it's a lot better than when we were younger.
And they can't remember because they weren't there.
They weren't there, and that's okay. That's okay, but you as and I weren't. We weren't around in 1950 to see All About Eve in the movie theater either, but we know what it is.
No, correct.
I mean, I think what's ironic, there are many ironies in today's world, and that's part of my ethos, especially in this show, because I've been writing essays I created a Substack, which is a free speech sort of platform, and I've been writing essays weekly since March. So I've written almost 50 essays, and they're all semi sort of saucy, examinations of some of the craziness in our culture right now. And my thing with it is, the irony is that these kids have had the world at their fingertips their whole lives, and they're not curious. They don't even know what to look for, and they keep getting fed more of the TikTok or whatever the fuck it is they're messing their brains up with. But listen, it's every generation of young people thinks the older people are out of touch and stupid and don't get it. But I'm like, you think you invented gender fluidity?
Right.
You think you invented this? Like the drag scene that we have, I tried to explain to some of these youngins, because they don't even know who the big divas were.
No.
I mean, like you mentioned Grace Jones, and even African American kids go, who?
Yeah, exactly.
Charles Pierce is one of the people that I like to bring up with them, and I'll send them right to YouTube. I'll tell them, get on YouTube and look at these things.
It's right there. See, that's the best part of it is if they'll listen to you, because now I've discovered that I'm gay white male privilege.
All day.
I wish I had more of this to show for it, honey. Yeah. Believe me. But or more power or more opportunity, none of which I have. So I don't know what privilege you're talking about, but this is the privilege. We live in America. Yes. We're not having the police show up like in England when you retweet something you shouldn't and they arrest you. They take you away. Okay. God forbid, but I'm just saying. Yes. The kids need to know because they will appreciate it. There is no one doing female impersonations at all anymore. And when I was doing it, we had Tommy Femi as Judy, we had Richard Skipper as Carol Channing, we had Stephen Brimberg's Barbara, we had Joe Post as Liza. I mean, it was a cascade of people. And then you have the originals like Charles Bush and like Miss Coco Peru and like Varla Jean Merman. And these people weren't just, we think of RuPaul. RuPaul's made an empire out of her persona, but she was just one of many. And all their stuff is at your fingertips to look at and to see. And it's a shame that the kids aren't more curious.
Some of them I have to say, because I have about 70 of them that are in my team at Ellen's Stardust Diner as part of my singing wait staff, and most of them are younger. They are looking and they are questioning. And when I get a chance, I send them the links. I will share it right to them. And I don't care whether they like it or not. They have to, you have to give them the history. Jamie, it's been a pleasure to have you here.
Yes, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
I will be at the show at Triad because I want to know, I could probably use a little help too, knowing how you mastered and got through all of this.
Well, the message is it's not too late. It's not too late. And you're still here. I say at the beginning of the show, I quote The Lion in Winter. I do quotes. I love quotations and aphorisms. It's like a thing, and I post one every day on my Facebook. I have for years and years. But at the end of The Lion in Winter, after all of the chaos of this family ripping each other to shreds, you've got Katharine Hepburn and Peter O'Toole, and they're in the dungeon at dawn, watching the dawn come up, and she turns to him and she says, "There's everything in life but hope." And he says, "We're both alive. And for all I know, that's what hope is." So when I say lived experience, I say to the audience, we're still living, so let's have an experience. So I'm hoping it's going to lift people up and it's going to make people laugh. And I'm poking fun at some sacred cows, getting a little bit of trouble, a little bit of good kind of trouble. We'll see if I get canceled or not, but we'll find out.
We're going to go out here with a little clip of a Cy Coleman tune, Why Try to Change Me Now? And this is you, James Beaman, as you, song and dance, and
singing in my over 40 keys, as Billy Porter would say.
Anyway, pleasure to have you. Thank you so much, Jamie.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Why can't I be more conventional? People talk, people stare, so I try. That's not for me, 'cause I can't see my kind of crazy world go passing me by. So let people wonder, let them laugh, let them frown. You know I love you till the moon's upside down. Don't you remember? I was always your clown. But why try to change me now?